Hey guys, it's Paul Jang, and gonna be talking about an eight-step criteria. Let me start here. Eight-step criteria for starting a side hustle or business. And for a while, I really thought it was just three criteria: what's my time investment, what's my money investment, um, and how much money can I make? And I realized that that is um, just a little bit too simple for you know looking at different business models, comparing it with my own lifestyle, and seeing if it's something worth pursuing. And I have tendencies now to um, look at you know business models that aren't location specific, has money potential, doesn't require a lot of time, preferably doesn't require a lot of money. Um, and I put this criteria together for a series of videos on different passive income business models or side hustles and anything of that sort. And I threw out a video a while ago on laundromats, something that I was pursuing pretty hard, and kind of took a step back when I realized some of the commitments in terms of money and my time and location. I just took a step back from it because I realized it didn't fit with the lifestyle I want to live. So um, I'll tell you the eight-step criteria. I'll give an example. So the example I'm going to give, I'm going to run through different examples, but the one I want to do is a 9 to 5 job. And I gave it a score ultimately of 48.75% out of 100, and ranked it. But let's go over the criteria and I'll tell you how I think about this. So the first one is money potential. You know, is this something that will, from no money to like hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars? Like, what is the potential like limit here? And so, the way I see it, it's I'm gonna base it off of um, making a livelihood and starting from kind of that point for most 9 to 5 jobs, like it's gonna cover your livelihood. So if it's going to be like an average of all the money that you can make in different forms, this could be higher if you're getting a really well-paying job. It could be lower, if you have kind of a minimum job. But let's kind of go with the six here. And I think there's this number could be changed higher or lower depending where you're at. But you know the ability to make money is pretty important. So step two, your speed to get money. How quickly can you get this? And so what I put here for 9 to 5, I put here 8, right? Like, for most jobs, it's going to be on per month basis. There's jobs out there that will pay every other week or weekly. Um, but if you consider, there's jobs out there. If you mowed someone's lawn, or you you know, cleaned out someone's driveway and there was like snow and you cleaned it out, the expectation is you're going to get paid immediately, right? If you did some kind of handiwork, the expectation would be after you did it, you'd be paid immediately, right? And there's even some stuff like where you could be paid before you even do any work, right? So in terms of speed, I would say it's like a pretty reliable way if you have a 9 to 5 job, of getting money quickly, right? In comparison to things that might take months or you're not exactly sure when you might get paid, right? Okay, so that's the second criteria. The third criteria is your time investment, right? And does it take this a lot of time or does it take no time, right? Like, and the I just kind of think 9 to 5, working the 40-hour shifts. Um, most jobs aren't just 40-hour shifts anymore; it's much longer. And you're into after hours. Most people work a little bit earlier than 9, but this time investment here, I think of a 9 to 5 job as a 1 out of 10. It is so bad because it just takes up most of your life if you have a 9 to 5 job. And I'm not saying it's bad. If you like your job, that's good. But for most people, that's going to take a bulk of your time. So if you're comparing it, apples to apples, like, if you do some kind of work and it's going to take an hour of your day, and then you have another thing where it's going to cost you 10 hours, even if you like that work, that's a time investment, right? And I think saving your time is important. So the next criteria is your money investment. How much is this going to cost you to start up, to get going? And for a 9 to 5 job, the owner, or if you're getting a job with the government, they've already put those initial expenses already there, right? And you're going in not expecting to put any money in. You're expecting to get paid. So, I'd say very minimal amount of money. When I was a teacher, teachers will complain about, how they might have to get some office supplies, some markers or this or that. And why doesn't the school provide it? But like in the grand scheme of things, like in comparison to having a business or some side hustle and there's no infrastructure in place, you are not putting any money in. So for that, from a 9 to 5 job, it's very your risk is in terms of your time. It's not in terms of any monetary investment. And I would say, as you look at different side hustles, sometimes the bigger money investments will save you your time. So there's a pretty strong dichotomy here on your time investment and your money investment. Most people, as you get, you know, more bigger with your side hustle, your businesses, your time, your money becomes less important and your time becomes more important, right? And I think, in the beginning, when you have more time than money, this is like, this is gonna be what you work with, right? This is what you're gonna do, but just acknowledging it's not, there's pros and cons here, right? So the next criteria is I'm doing the PowerPoint and the Google Sheet, right? Just so it's a little bit bigger for you. And we'll talk about how difficult is the work, right? So this is another criteria. I push really hard on this idea with land investing, right? That it is compared to other business models, it is very easy. You buy an asset and then you just hold on to it until you sell it, right? That's it. And if it's a big enough lot, you use a realtor to do it for you, right? So it's a very simple and easy process. But how difficult is the work for a 9 to 5 job? Well, a lot of times it depends, right? Some jobs is very easy. Some jobs are very difficult. My father was a mail carrier, and he worked 8-hour shifts, carrying mail, on his back, and he did that like into his 60s, right? My grandfather was a mail carrier as well, right? I have a whole bunch of family in the mail carrying, like mailman business, right? They got jobs and they spend a lot of time in it, right? Give it a poor grade. They didn't have to put any money in except for getting their, y- um, finishing some kind of test and doing some applications, right? They got their money relatively quickly. It was enough to pay our bills and for me to go to college and for, them to provide, right? But that difficulty there for a mailman, I would put it closer to an 8 or 9, right? It is difficult to be on your feet. My dad has like, a few problems. So these numbers are adjustable. I just put here 5 because, for most people, it's if it's really that terrible, you're gonna get out. If it's really that great, this video is not gonna like be applicable to you, that much. It's there's if it's for most people that's gonna be a pain point of some sort, you know, um, and it's not gonna be too hard. It's not gonna be too easy. There's gonna be periods where it kind of flows in and out in terms of the workload, right? So the next criteria is scalability. Okay, so when you I'm making it a little bit bigger for you guys. Is it scalable? It says it's a wrong word, but there's not really a word for this. But this idea of it being able to grow, it being able to be passive, right? Like it having a compounding effect. What I mean by this is like um, let me give you the land investing analogy, right? If I pick up one piece of land and sell it, and I pick up another lot, sell it, pick up that's a sequential kind of you know compounding effect. It's one at a time. But then there's other things where it's a much more compounding effect where it's um, a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of work, and then it's like boom, it starts. There's this like curve line where things become easier, it becomes more passive, it becomes um, um, like a compounding effect. If just think about the YouTube video, like creators, the first 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, it's very difficult. But what is the difference between going from 1 million to 2 million, right? That's much easier than the person that goes from 0 to 1 million subscribers, right? And so there's a compounding effect where things become easier, things become, your systems get more set up, right? Like it's easier to manage, right? Is this going to take a huge team? We're going to have to manage that. Is there an ability for it to grow, exponentially? And really, for most jobs, I put here for 9 to 5, I put here a one. Now, there's a caveat here. If you are doing sales, specifically sales, and you are on commission, there's a potential higher compounding effect where, um, let's say you're in a, you're doing a real estate sales job. In the beginning, it's really difficult, but as you build a book of business, you build clients, you have referrals, you have branding, you have all these things, and it makes it easier, right? But for a typical 9 to 5 job, this is not really there because you're not creating the systems to, you know, take yourself out of the job. You are the job. You are, the person that's being hired to do certain specific tasks. And so you can never really replace yourself. And so the only caveat with these like jobs is if you have some kind of commission based job, usually even that though, there's usually a ceiling to how big you can get, especially if you're paid. But strictly commission people like real estate agents, that's not it's not the case. It's kind of like as far as you can go, right? What's the competition like for a 9 to 5 job? I'd say like right now it's a little bit easier, but it depends on your field, right? So if it's much more, um, if you're in the I don't know what's really competitive. If you're in the lawyer world, right, 9 to 5, or you want to be an FBI agent, it is very, very competitive, right? But there's other positions out there that aren't as competitive. As a teacher, you know, it was less competitive to be a math or special needs teacher than it was to be a history teacher. Everyone wanted to be a history teacher because it was considered more easier. You didn't have to do state exams, things like that, right? So it's just the competition level of whatever business thing that you're doing, like real estate sales, very competitive, right? Um, I'd say real estate wholesaling with houses, pretty competitive, right? What's not competitive? Um, uh, what's out there? I think I think like Google like releases articles on like jobs that pay 6 figures that they're, but no one's like taking it. Like for example, like truck drivers. You'll see ads on trucks like please get your driver's license. We'll pay. We'll give you bonuses, etc. Right? That's much less competitive. And that's the same thing I'd say like with side hustles and businesses. There is a competition level, and you kind of have to be aware like where it is. The last thing is the criteria that I put was location specific. Let me just make it a little bit. That's competition. Location specific is the last criteria, and what I want to talk about this was if with remote work, this has kind of changed the landscape of things. I was talking to a friend named Luke. He's he's um, he's finishing up school, and he's got remote work, and he's able to kind of do it simultaneously. I've met other people that because of COVID, they just work strictly from home. My cousin uh, and his wife both work for American Express. They've gone completely remote, and they were able to buy. They were in New York City. They were able to get out of New York City and go to upstate New York, about closer to an hour and a half, 2 hour drive away from the city, because of this remote option. But for the most part, right, it is location specific, right? Like there are those remote jobs, but typically for 9 to 5 jobs, it is location specific. So I put it a little bit lower. I put it 3, but I'm using an Excel sheet, and the idea here is that eh, there's these business and income streams. There's potential money potential, how quickly you get to money, the money, your time investment here, your money investment, how easy or difficult is it? Is there a compounding effect here? Is it competitive? Is it location specific? And what I did was I added them all up. So I did some B212, added it all up, got a score, And then what I did was, since there's 8 criteria, right? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, and the highest score is a 10. So you go from one as absolutely bad to 10 being absolutely good. Got the raw score divided by 80, and then put this in percent form, or you could multiply it by 100, and you could kind of figure out, like, start systematizing for you personally, where people lie into. I'm kind of thinking like I'm gonna, create some kind of document and give it out for free. As I'm walking through this, I'm planning to do a series on passive income streams, side hustles, business opportunities, things like that. And that way you can get some kind of clarity on different things, right? I put here land investing as one of them, but I think I pulled up an article on 30 best passive income streams, and I'm telling you right now, it's not. Most of these stuff is not passive, like, at all, right? But it's kind of this idea of like remote kind of, you're getting out of the 9 to 5, you're, trading less time for money. I think that's what they're kind of getting at with this, like, best passive income ideas. And so kind of putting that to the test, like, is it really that passive? Is it scalable, right? Like, a 9 to 5 job would be a no, right? There's very few things that are just an absolute, like, 10, just 100% passive, right? Like, if you put your money in an index fund, that's passive. That's a 10. Right? So if you think about, like, of it like that, like, what are the ranges for the different side hustles and businesses, and what are the things that you're kind of weighing out? If you don't have any money, you need this is going to be an important category, right? If you have money but not as much time, this is if you already have a job, this is an important category. You're always going to want to consider your money potential, your ability to scale, right? Is this something that could be a big thing, or is this a short-term thing, right? If location, like for myself, I want to be in multiple places. I want to be overseas at some point, and be able to travel between different countries and different states. So that this is going to be important for me for it to have a high score, right? And it was one of the reasons that I basically knocked out laundromats as a viable business opportunity, at least for myself, right? And so, like, these are the things I think that are good. So I think I'm going to put this in the description below pretty soon. So I think it'll be there. So check it out in the description if you want that. Um, but otherwise, I hope you like this video. I am planning to do a series on these passive income streams using Shopify, and just putting out numbers on what I think. And I think what like I started doing it. I don't know if you could see it over here, but starting to kind of get some raw scores and some percentages on things, on, what I like, what I don't, why I think this is good, why it's not. And then I think we're getting into just a better idea on what's out there, what opportunities are there. And I got this email from this real estate investor. His name's William Tingle. He's in, like, the subject to role, which is basically you know buy houses without having to go through a bank. And he was just talking about um, um, Elon Musk, the guy who, is like the figure of, Tesla and some of these other stuff. And one of his big things is picking up Twitter, and he's kind of backing out. And his idea is, like, whether he went for it or not, the fact that this guy, like, he started off with, like, PayPal, like, he's got multiple businesses, he's got multiple things that he's trying out. And you could kind of bet that, Elon Musk, like, whether he buys Twitter or doesn't buy Twitter, the fact that he's trying new things, new businesses, new models, trying to scale. Like, the I think one of his things was, like, with Tesla, and his, like, space program stuff. Like, uh, most of it's not patented, because, like, he's like, let's bring on the competition, let's bring on the innovation. And th- that seems counterintuitive, but it's just this mindset of, what are the things out there? What are the opportunities and things that I'm not even aware of? I'm a land investing guy, right? Like, I buy and sell land. But I've done more YouTube, building that up. I think there's a lot of potential here. Doing an online course, doing other stuff, right? and what are the different opportunities out there that I'm not even necessarily aware of, and is there something better than land investing? Is it something that I could add on if it doesn't take a lot of my time? Is this an avenue worth pursuing, right? And these are the things that I'm kind of weighing out for myself, and thinking about as I'm looking at building multiple streams of income, right? I'm thinking not just land investing. I'm thinking, rental houses. I'm thinking YouTube. I'm thinking all sorts of things, and so just kind of trying and testing different things, and with this, I'm hoping to kind of systematize, look at raw scores, and kind of figure out, oh, this is an opportunity that I didn't even consider, that there might be something here, right? And we could look into it a little bit more deeply. So that's that. If you want to get along with that journey, check that out. Subscribe, like, and you'll probably get video feeds of that. And if you're interested in land investing, so far I've done like 10 different types of businesses, and it's beating. So it's like there's nothing higher than 72.72%, which is land investing. The closest one is a 67%, 62%. There's a 58%, but these are weighted on how I think about things. You could, if you get the doc, you'll probably be able to adjust certain things on how you see it, but it gives you kind of a framework on, oh, what are the different opportunities, and based on where I'm at, do I need to get a job because I don't have any money, right? Like, just kind of weighing those things out, I think is really good. But otherwise, take care. Have a good one.